All right, Dolphins fans, we are back after a nice little break from Memorial Day weekend. The Miami Dolphins back with some OTA action today. And actually, they were back on Tuesday. They did have a practice. However, Tuesday's practice was not open to the media, so we did not have a report on that one. However, today, Wednesday's OTA day 5, we're back on the field. Media was invited to tag along. So that means we are back with a report for today. We heard from Mike McDaniel before the practice took place. We'll touch on that throughout the video. We'll get to the bulk of that at the end of the video as we do, because I like to start with the on-field action. So let's kick things off right away with the offense, because reports had the offense clicking for this, which was the OTA, the second one available and open to the media. Now, the first one, good on both sides. However, the defense kind of credited with the win. Today, a lot of the same thing, but the offense credited with a little bit more of the wins than the defense. And Travis Wingfield of the Miami Dolphins Drive Time podcast said what's music to my ears, what we've been saying on this channel and what I've been saying for years since Tua was at Alabama. Tua was dealing. Now, I love that analogy because coming into the NFL, I always made the reference. Tua is that blackjack dealer. Get him in shotgun, spread the field, let him read the defense, let him just pick and choose and just dot people with that pinpoint accuracy, a la the blackjack dealer, just firing it around the field. So I love when I hear others using that analogy as well. Tua credited with a deep shot to Chosen Anderson, Robbie Chosen, whatever you want to call him, just keep calling his names if he's making plays like this. 40 to 50 yards on that game. And I talked about sprinkling in a little bit of Mike McDaniel's media availability, because he was asked, like, who's going to fill in? Get those targets that Mike Gesicki leaves at the tight end position. And Mike McDaniel said, look, might not just be a tight end. Might be an array of guys, might be a receiver, might be running backs. I'm doing some ad-libbing there on his actual quote. But when Chosen Anderson was brought to this team, I was kind of the belief that camp body, maybe a long shot to make it. He's not going to get reps over a guy like Eric Ezukanma, stunt his development. He's going to be on a shorter leash. But this is 2 OTAs that have been open to the media now, where Anderson is making these plays, which is great. I will sign up for whoever wants to take reins of that wide receiver 3 position, whether it's Anderson, Chosen Anderson, whether it's Braxton Berrios, Ced Wilson, Eric Ezukanma, if it's one of the running backs, whoever wants to get the 3rd most targets on this team, I don't care. Let's just alleviate some of that pressure from continually have to target Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Not that that's a bad thing, but this offense needs to evolve a little bit. And having a 3rd target emerge is going to be clutch. So props to Chosen Anderson for the 40 to 50-yard gain today. And Tua comes back on the next play, had a free running blitzer coming at him. Tua knew immediately where Raheem Mostert was going to be, and he was there. Kind of got Mostert as that blitz replacer option for a nice catch and run as well. But the reports have Tua's top receiving target, I should say, Jalen Waddle. Now, I should note that Tyreek Hill was not at practice today, but reports have Waddle catching everything. There was even one where off-body target, stretched out, had to get that on a hot throw from Tua, brought that one in with his hands. Had another quick hitter outside versus Kader Kohu, who had good coverage as well. However, Tua put that ball perfectly, able to get it where Jalen's able to catch the ball, turn immediately into his run, get 20 yards right there as well after a quick hitter. And I should say that I had to get this video out a little bit quicker today. I know for a fact, as soon as I hit publish and this thing goes live, the Dolphins social media team is going to end up putting out a video of Robbie Chosen probably catching that ball from Tua, and I'm going to be pissed. However, I do at least have a video of Jaelan Phillips that I've included in this one, but just know that that's likely what's going to happen because of my luck. Outside of Tua Tagovailoa, Skylar Thompson, play of the day from numerous reporters, hit Braylon Sanders on a perfectly placed deep ball that went for a 50-yard touchdown. Mike White also with a notable completion to Cedric Wilson. All in all, doesn't sound like the ball hit the ground all too often. So a nice day for the Dolphins, at least through the air. They did give up a couple of sacks here, which we'll talk about. Like I said, wins both ways, offensively, defensively. That's good news, especially when we talk about some of the guys who weren't available for today's practice. Another thing that we all love to hear, hope to continue to hear throughout OTAs, throughout training camp, more notable plays, more notable wins for De'Von Achane. Noted with a route against Jerome Baker, where he got a couple of steps on Baker, brought in the catch for a long touchdown. Now, some do believe that this play could have been blown dead. You can't actually sack the quarterback during these OTA practices. So some believe that the quarterback would have been sacked. Regardless, I'm not taking it away from Achane. Still good to see his name called, him making plays in the receiving game, more explosive plays, because Mike McDaniel was kind of asked about him and Cam Smith. And are you happy with the progression so far since bringing them to Miami? And he said, you know what they both got? They both got that self-confidence that you just love. If they have a mistake, if you got a little mess up, they're not letting it sit on them shoulders and impact future plays. They're brushing it off. They're moving on to the next one. And another thing he said, before you can really get on the field and be comfortable with your role and what you're doing, you got to make it happen in the locker room. You got to earn the trust. You got to become one of the guys. And he said, you know what, these guys, they're not having any issues fitting into the locker room as well. So that is great news regarding the team's first 2 draft picks. Another note that we're going to love to hear from the offensive line, because, hey, we need all the good news from the offensive line that we can get. But Isaiah Wynn was credited with opening a big lane on a nice Jeff Wilson run. Now, we should note that on the offensive line, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, both out today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Teron Armstead towards the end of today's video. But with Connor Williams not at OTAs, it's been Liam Eichenberg that's been getting some reps for the team at center. So I'm just kind of assuming, let's say if Liam Eichenberg was at center there, Isaiah Wynn was likely at left tackle or left guard. But it should be noted that when Connor Williams is back, he's probably still going to end up being that team's go-to guy at center. So Liam is still going to end up competing and is likely penciled in right now at starting left guard. But interesting to note that while Williams is gone, Liam Eichenberg is getting a little bit of cross-training at center. Let's go defensively here, because once again, the name that we're hearing is the guy that I have the video of, Jaelan Phillips. It's a practice rep that's against dummies, but man, it is beyond fun to watch this guy. A man that is this large with this kind of speed and power and bend, I will just let the video do the talking for me. Like I said, it's against dummies, but the speed, the power, the bend, just look at how big this guy is. What planet is that guy from? Because it is not Earth. He doesn't look like you and I. Regardless, fun to watch that guy. Once again, Travis Wingfield credited Jaelan Phillips with would-be sacks, tackles for losses in today's practice. He also singled out defensive lineman Jaylen Twyman, having a couple notable plays that popped, that stood out. He also mentioned him looking good in the first OTA session that was available to the media as well. And then undrafted free agent Mitchell Agude, also credited with 2 would-be sacks. He's an undrafted free agent edge rusher that was brought into the mix as well. So 2 sacks, nice notable plays there. Lastly, on the defense, they had 1 interception today, and guess who it was? Nope, it wasn't Ramsey. It wasn't Howard. Neither of them were practicing today, by the way. We'll get to that. It was Noah Igbenogany who undercut a pass from QB4 James Blackman. So a nice little bounce back after Noah Igbenogany was kind of on the wrong end of one of the social media videos that the team social media team put out last week of Tua hitting a deep ball. I think that might have actually been to Anderson. My mind's blanking me now. But a nice little bounce back regardless from Noah Igbenogany. Let's talk a little bit about Mike McDaniel and that media availability, because they asked about less OTA practices than what's allotted for. So you're allotted by the NFL to have up to 10 OTA practices. Mike McDaniel's going with 6, and he says, you know what, the players earned it. But because they earned it, we know he's a bit of a player's coach. He's going to keep the guys fresh. It's the Miami Heat, no pun intended, NBA Finals, here they come on the way. But it's that Heat keeping the guys fresh. It's a lot of offseason. There's a lot of OTAs and mini camps to happen. Keeping them fresh, not making them go to all 10. But he said, when you're here, we're going to get the best from you. You need to show up. And it sounds like so far, everyone is doing that as well. He hit on Cameragate. Tua installed the camera to the side of his head. Like I said, we beat this horse to death in one of the last videos we did. But he said it's multifaceted. It's not new. This technology's been around. Teams have been doing this for the last 10 to 20 years. But one little thing that we got from it today is that the camera also can pick up audio as well. So they hear the play calls that are associated with each of the plays that they're seeing. So they don't have to really go back and guess as to what was happening. They can do that in real time. So that's kind of a nice little nugget to have on there. Talked a little bit about Teron Armstead. I said I had a nugget there. They asked him whether or not he had offseason foot surgery, because we all know that Teron Armstead was basically medically advised, after week 1, get that surgery. And he said, nope, I'm not sitting out this entire year. I just signed this huge contract. We're going to go play. Now, Mike McDaniel said, I'm not exposing this dude's medical information to everybody. He can do that on his own time if he wants. So he did not confirm, did not deny a surgery, but he said he does expect Teron Armstead to be available for training camp. So that is obviously good news for us. He confirmed joint practices, yes, with the Texans. We already knew the news about the Falcons leading up to those preseason games. Orange jersey alert, sort of buried that. Alec Ingold was in today's orange jersey, and others that were not at practice today. Tyreek Hill, Trill Williams, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, Zach Sealer, Channing Tindall, Cameron Good, Jalen Ramsey, Brandon Jones, Xavier Howard, and Nick Needham. So that's today's report. I am going to finish with noting that the Miami Dolphins will have the most cap space that gets freed up on June 1st when those June 1st cuts become official. Now, it's not the most cap space in the NFL. It's just the most cap space that gets freed up tomorrow on June 1st when those cuts become official. And Mike McDaniel did make sure to say in his media availability that they will put the cap space to good use. Still got to sign the rookies. Want a little bit of insurance money as well. So we'll see, where does Dalvin Cook fall into this? If he gets released, we will see what transpires there. But as news comes out, we've got you covered. So make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Report every day there's OTA. Report every day there's news. Report on days that I just want to come up with content. So get subscribed if you have not already. But that is what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. Until next time, fins up.